I'm back with another unboxing, this time again with a game from Victory Point Games. This is game number 2 in Paul Koenig's Market Garden series. This game is, once again, game number 2, Eindhoven Bridge. I also own Arnhem Bridge and have played and reviewed that. Really enjoyed it. It is a series of small format, very introductory level war games. They don't deal a lot with complicated mechanics. They don't have zones of control. They do have simple rules for combat. If you want to read my review on Arnhem Bridge, you can kind of see what I thought about it. Definitely a fun introductory level series of games. But if you're a deep war gamer, a heavy war gamer, you're probably not, other than for the historic simulation of the event, not really going to get a whole lot out of this series of games, but it was fun. I know we played that in November a couple of times and then did the review in December. And the review got really good views. I think it got 500 or 600 views. So obviously somebody is interested in it. I've always, frankly, been a sucker for Operation Market Garden games. It's just a period that I love, being World War II. It also is an event that I find very fascinating. One of my favorite movies, war movies of all time, is A Bridge Too Far, and that covers the 3 or 4 days for Market Garden. So really, I was interested in getting this second edition, or not second edition, second part of that game series. There is a third. I don't have that yet, but I probably will eventually get it. I'm a completionist and like to have the whole series. But this is a polybag game. As you can see, it's very small. Comes in a plastic bag. Very, very simple to store on your shelf. You can just literally kind of prop it in between other games and keep it there on your shelf. I dropped my die. Hold on just a second. It comes with a really, really small die. You can see it there in my hand. Very, very small. There is a little bit of rolling. So sorry about having to chase that down, but here's the cover. You can get a look at the units. In this game, it is the Germans versus the Americans. In the Arnhem Bridge scenario, it was the Germans versus the British. So this one adds in the American units, and you can see there in the corner, this is designed by Paul Koenig, and the developer Alan Emmerich and Brian Armour, and Tim Allen did the map. The maps aren't amazingly done, but they're fairly simplified. I've also read online that there are a couple locational errors maybe with the maps. But once again, I don't know if that was done mainly for gameplay or for some other purpose. There also is a Paul Koenig D-Day series of games. I have not played, or I don't own those. But those are definitely ones that I'm interested in looking at. So that's on the back of the front cover. Put that there with the dice. This does come with 2 sets of rules. And let me show you the first set of rules. The first set of rules is, in essence, the standard rules for the series of games. So you can see this is Paul Koenig's Market Garden, which takes course over a 3-day period, the 17th, 18th, and 19th of 1944 in September. So these are the basic rules for the game. You can see they are full color. They're fairly concise, only 4 pages worth of rules, as well as a couple pages of extended rules or exclusive rules for this scenario. So you can see they've got great examples of play, very good clear text. There's also, I remember from our first play, we really focused on the yellow highlighted and the blue and red. That helped us realize they were either important or something we needed to focus on. So very, very quick. The dice, once again, is used, and it explains how they're used there. But here's the rules, pretty simple, the standard rules. So then, along with it, there are what appear to be one example of exclusive scenario rules. So you can see here it's made for the Eindhoven Bridge scenario, and these are the exclusive. They have a specific set of rules that govern the paratroop landings. That is a very interesting abstracted part of the game. You don't necessarily go through each unit landing and making it to to the area, but you do a roll for each of those units. They either take damage, are destroyed or lost, or they make it intact, and then they have to make their way to the battlefield. There's the rules on movement. And then there's some optional rules here for U.S. machine guns and a couple of other things. And then here we go on the back. You can use some leadership. There are different tokens. There's interdiction, which is something that is definitely interesting. Indirect fire is something I remember from the first Arnhem Bridge scenario. These units that have a red number, and there's only a couple of them, they can do what's indirect fire, and they can kind of add to the attack strength of other additional units. It basically represents a field machine gun going off and kind of doing some spray fire, cover fire. So there's the exclusive rules. And then they do give, which I think is very good, and these actually helped us understand better the play. They kind of do an operations phase and an example of fire combat. So this one-page insert will take you through how to do battle, how to move, how to do other things. And anytime a game company or a game does this, it's very appreciated. I enjoy it because I hate reading rules because I always have to read them 5 times to really get it. And examples like this help me so I can just follow this and understand exactly what I'm supposed to do. Comes with a couple of bags. Here's another advertisement. I already talked about the fact that I did a review on 100 Days 20. Here is the game board itself. It is a cardstock bifold. You can see pretty good size. I think there's a pretty good size map there. I will tell you, there's a lot of the map, and I remember this from the first scenario, the Arnhem Bridge scenario, that you will never use. You basically come in at various points. It will tell you where your units come in, and then you're trying to get to certain areas or objectives where you're trying to hold the bridge, take the bridge, keep the Americans off the bridge if you're the Germans, and that's how you score victory points at the end of the game. One thing I do love about this series is, once again, right on the board map, you have those tables printed. The paratroop landing table, the terrain and movement points table. Here's your turn record track, the day sequence printed right there. There is a night sequence of turn. And then there they kind of give you just a quick summary of how the battle sequence works. Once again, makes these games very easy to play. Nice looking map, good thickness. It probably over time, you can already see, and maybe you can't, but it is kind of fraying on the end. You can't really see that, I'm sorry. But that's just due to the folding, and I'm going to have to be very careful or that's going to rip over several plays. Here are the counters. Sorry, hit the camera stand. Counters are pretty simple. There's not a lot of them. Let me get that focused in. These are the hit markers, the ones in the middle. I really like the hit markers. Each unit does take 2 hits, and on the 3rd hit they are eliminated. Here's some Allied air support, artillery. There's the game turn track. These are kind of the administrative tokens. And then here are the units. So you can see there's not a lot of units. I remember I did talk about the indirect fire. There's an indirect fire unit, and there's an indirect fire unit. So those units can join other units that are engaged from a distance, and they can offer fire support. These do use the NATO symbols for the type of unit. You'll notice there are these activation chits. So right there you can see that headquarters. Those are going to go into a cup. This is one of the really unique mechanisms of the game, and I really enjoy it. So you can see there are 4 headquarters for the American units on the bottom, and they are color-coded. For instance, the red HQ there, you can see there are 4 red units. When that red HQ chit is pulled out of the cup, you can then activate only the 4 red units. The same for the white, the green, and the yellow. And you can see the Germans have the same constraints. The Germans have a blue headquarters there, a green, an orange, a yellow, and then that kind of looks tannish. And once again, they're going to draw those out of that cup, and they're going to activate those units. So that can be very surprising. It can be very frustrating. You may be able to and want to activate, say, the orange units, because you have the ability to eliminate a unit and American unit and take a position. But guess what? They don't move until that orange headquarters has been activated. That is meant to simulate or represent the fog of war, communication problems and issues. So I think a very well-designed thematic part of the game. And that's what makes this very solitaire suitable, because you're just basically drawing out these chits and taking the actions for those various groups. We'll turn those over. These will tell when they come in. You can see GT1, GT8, game turn 1 or game turn 8. And that's when those units are going to come in. The units in the upper right, those are units that are deployed directly onto the map at the start of the game, and those coordinates refer to the hex that they are located in. So very nice counters. They're struck very well. They come out very easily. They're not the laser die cut. They're more of the traditional just die cut, and they're good. They're good solid counters. They look good. They work well, and there's not a lot of them. So this game is very fast playing. If I'm remembering back to our game of Arnhem, it took us about 2 hours, but we were once again trying to learn. I think once you understand the rules, let's see what it says here. My guess is this game can most likely be played in under an hour. Yeah, 50 minutes is what they say. And this is the back insert. Just gives some of the history, a look at the Eindhoven Bridge scenario, and there it comes with the game components. So all in all, really nice looking game. I enjoy these introductory level war games. They are interesting to me. They're interesting to me, and definitely well designed and well made. I think they're worth the price that you end up paying. But once again, these are introductory war games. These are not deep, very, very complex and involved war games. So you need to understand that if you get into buying those. So thanks for watching, and look for more later once we do a review sometime in the future. Thank you.